Have you ever wondered what lurks in the shadows when you're all alone? Imagine this. An ordinary day, just like any other, is about to take a turn into the realm of the extraordinary and the unsettling. Picture an average person. Let's call them Sam, who is returning home late at night after a long and tiring day. They've walked this path 1,000 times before, under the comforting blanket of darkness, but tonight, something feels different. There's a streetlight at the end of the road, flickering sporadically, casting an ominous glow on the pavement. It's a detail that would usually go unnoticed, but not tonight. Tonight, it seems to signal a warning, a foreboding sign that something isn't quite right. Then there's the silence. An eerie, deafening silence that seems to swallow all other sounds. It's as if the world is holding its breath, anticipating something dreadful. The wind, too, has a chilling edge to it, whispering secrets in Sam's ear, making the hairs on the back of their neck stand on end. But what's truly unsettling is the feeling of being watched. You know, that prickling sensation at the back of your neck, the sinking feeling in your stomach, the instinctual knowledge that you're not alone. Sam feels it too, a presence lurking in the shadows, unseen but all too palpable. It's like a pair of eyes boring into the back of their head, an invisible force that's following their every move. Sam quickens their pace, the sound of their own heartbeat pounding in their ears, the cold sweat trickling down their spine. They know something is amiss, but they can't put their finger on it. They have no idea what's about to happen, no clue about the terror that's lying in wait. Little did they know their darkest nightmares were about to come alive. As they stepped into their house, they felt a chill run down their spine. The once warm and inviting home seemed to have transformed into something far more sinister. A place where shadows danced on the walls, and the air grew inexplicably cold at random spots. From the corner of their eyes, they'd often catch glimpses of objects moving on their own. A book falling off a shelf, a chair sliding across the room, an old family portrait tilting sideways on the wall. Each incident, though minor, chipped away at their peace of mind, building a tower of dread that loomed over them every time they crossed the threshold. And then, there were the sounds. Strange, inexplicable noises coming from the rooms that should have been empty. Soft whispers that seemed to echo through the hallways late at night. The sound of footsteps pacing back and forth. The creaking of floorboards under unseen weight. Every sound was a reminder of the unseen presence that had made itself at home. Despite their growing fear, they tried to dismiss it. They told themselves it was just the house settling or the wind playing tricks. But deep down, they knew it was more than that. Something was there, something that didn't belong, and it was growing stronger. With each passing day, the fear grew, gnawing at their sanity, making them question every shadow, every sound, every cold spot. They could feel it, the unseen presence always there, always watching. It was like living in a nightmare where the lines between reality and the supernatural blurred, and the unseen became the most terrifying of all. They were not alone, they knew it, they felt it. And with that realization came a new level of terror, a terror that clung to them, permeating their days and haunting their nights. A terror that turned their home into a house of horrors where the unseen ruled and they were merely guests. But the real terror was yet to strike. Then, in the dead of the night, it happened. The air was heavy with an unspoken dread, a chilling silence that seemed to echo through the corridors of sleep. A sudden jolt of awareness, like a bolt of lightning, ripped through the tranquility of the slumbering world. It was an awakening, not from a dream, but into a nightmare. The room was cloaked in an oppressive darkness, the kind that preys on the imagination, turning every creak of the old house into a sinister whisper. It was in this abyss of shadows and fear that they felt it, a chilling sensation, a feeling of being watched. It was as if the darkness itself had eyes, unblinking and unfeeling, boring into their very soul. In the corner of the room where the inky blackness seemed most impenetrable, there was movement. A shadowy figure, formless and indistinct, loomed. It was an entity, unseen but undeniably present. An icy fear gripped them, a fear that seemed to drain the warmth from the room and the courage from their heart. It was a fear that made every breath feel like a struggle, each heartbeat a desperate plea for salvation. The figure in the corner seemed to pulsate with an eerie energy, a malevolent presence that was felt rather than seen. It was in this moment that they understood the true nature of fear. It wasn't the darkness that terrified them, it was what the darkness hid, the unseen, the unknown. Summoning every ounce of courage they could muster, they made an attempt to escape. Their minds screamed for them to flee, to escape the room and the unseen terror it harbored. But the fear was paralyzing, a suffocating shroud that seemed to bind them to the spot. Each step felt like wading through a sea of treacle, each breath a gasp of terror. But could they really escape the unseen terror? The question hung in the air, a chilling reminder of the encounter that was as real as it was unseen. And as the echoes of their fear faded into the night, the only sound that remained was the haunting whisper of the unseen. In the harsh light of day, the terror of the night seemed almost unreal. A numbing silence followed the unseen encounter. The world had tilted on its axis, leaving behind a chilling echo that resonated in every corner of existence. The relentless ticking of the clock served as a painful reminder of the passing time, each moment stretching into a lifetime of uncertainty. The struggle to comprehend the bewildering experience was like trying to piece together a jigsaw puzzle with missing pieces. The mind, a spinning wheel of questions, sought desperately for answers that seemed to dissolve in the misty air. It was like trying to grasp at shadows, only to have them slip through your fingers. The unseen entity, a phantom in the night, had left its mark. Its presence was now etched into the very fabric of reality, a chilling reminder of the encounter. The air seemed denser, the silence louder, the world a shade darker. Every creaking door, every rustling leaf, every fleeting shadow seemed to whisper its name, a haunting lullaby that echoed in the quiet corners of the mind. The fear of the coming night hung heavy in the air. The setting sun seemed to cast longer shadows, its fading light a grim reminder of the encroaching darkness. The once comforting blanket of night had transformed into a cloak of fear, its dark folds hiding unseen terrors. The moon, a silent sentinel in the sky, bore witness to the unfolding horror. The struggle to come to terms with the experience was just the beginning. The unseen entity had left its mark, a chilling reminder of the night's terror. The fear of the coming night, the desperate search for answers, the haunting echo of the unseen encounter. All these were threads woven into the fabric of the aftermath. The unseen terror, it seemed, was far from over. The eerie echo of its presence lingered, a phantom whisper in the wind, a chilling lullaby that promised a sleepless night. The unseen terror had left its mark, and the night was yet to fall. As night fell again, they braced themselves for the worst. The once familiar surroundings took on a sinister guise as the shadows deepened. The unseen terror that had been haunting their dreams was now a reality they had to confront. The air was thick with anticipation, each moment stretching into an eternity as they awaited the inevitable. Gathering their collective courage, they stood united. Fear was replaced with resolve, terror with determination. They were ready to face their unseen adversary, ready to banish the terror from their lives. The silence was deafening, each heartbeat echoing through the stillness as they prepared for the confrontation. The suspense built steadily, like a crescendo reaching its peak. Each rustle of the wind, each creak of the old wooden floorboards, a false alarm triggering a surge of adrenaline. And then, as if responding to this palpable tension, the entity made its presence known. The climactic showdown had begun. The unseen entity, a shroud of darkness, seemed to stretch and distort the very fabric of reality. The air became dense, almost suffocating, as if the entity was consuming the very oxygen around them. But they stood firm, their courage unwavering, their resolve unbroken. Just when it seemed they might be gaining the upper hand, the unexpected happened. The entity did not retaliate with force, it did not lash out in anger. Instead, it began to fade, to shrink away from them, dissipating into the shadows from whence it came. The terror was not in its physical form, but in the fear it had instilled, the unseen dread that had gripped their hearts. In the end, the unseen terror was more terrifying than they could have ever imagined. They had faced it, they had survived, but they were forever changed. The unseen terror had left its mark, a scar etched deep within their psyche. This unseen terror, it lurks in the shadows, always waiting, ready to strike when least expected. So sleep tight if you dare.